It's Tuesday, January 29. This is the news on PBCJ. I'm Simone Absalom. The 37th Annual Caribbean Hotel and Tourism Association's Caribbean Travel Marketplace, CTM, began this morning in Montego Bay, St. James. It is the largest and most prominent tourism marketing event in the Caribbean. The CTM gives thousands of suppliers the opportunity to meet face-to-face with wholesalers from the Caribbean over the course of 2 days. Among those in attendance is a 19-person delegation from China.
Tourism is the best instrument to promote people-to-people exchange, which is an indispensable component of the Belt and Road Cooperation that features extensive consultation, joint contribution, and shared benefits, synergizing the development of China with all other countries and partners in the world.
It serves as an important platform to enhance exchanges between tourism suppliers from around the world.
In the past 8 years, we have in fact seen a number of Chinese visitors tripling, coming from 1,302 to what we have now as 3,899. And as you know, as we can all agree, there is a wide Chinese market that is there. We are pioneering this area now, and we know that there's room for significant growth, and we certainly look forward to receiving that growth in the years to come. And I'm sure the delegation here in Montego Bay for this week will in fact seize opportunities to spread the word about Jamaica's tourism offering and indeed the rest of the Caribbean region.
Ladies and gentlemen, let us work together to make Jamaica an attraction for Chinese tourists to enjoy the spectacular natural scenery, food, music, culture, and hospitality of this beautiful country, and jointly cement a friendship between the people of China and Jamaica.
The CTM showcases hotels, destination management companies, tour operators, airlines, among others, related to the travel industry. The Education Ministry says schools identified as high-risk areas for mosquito breeding sites because of nearby swamps are being referred to the Ministry of Health's Vector Control Unit for inspection and fogging. In a release to the media, the ministry said to date, health education officers have done more than 100 site visits across the island and seen to the fogging of a number of schools. It added that monitoring visits by teams from both ministries continue to uncover breeding sites at some premises, especially in old tires, in what it calls Operation Search and Destroy. School administrators, meanwhile, have been asked to remove these and also to ensure that garbage and breeding sites are destroyed by the end of the week. The Jamaica Environment Trust, JET, is appealing to the government not to extend the grace period for the use of banned plastic bags and to enforce the law come February 1. Some businesses were granted additional time to use up their existing stock. Peter Knight, Chief Executive Officer of the National Environment and Planning Agency, NEPA, has said the authorities will start cracking down on the use of banned plastic bags as soon as the grace period ends. Suzanne Stanley, Chief Executive Officer of JET, has said the full force of the law should be applied at that point. She's quoted saying, "We would not see that this grace period is indefinitely extended because once you start doing extension, then less and less people are going to take action seriously." End quote. Suzanne Stanley, Chief Executive Officer of JET, noted that while enforcement is taking place, the public education campaign should continue. Class 3 vehicles traveling from Caymanas in St. Catherine to Miami Bay in St. Anne will pay the highest rate of increases when the North-South highway toll increases take effect on Friday. The highway operators say Class 3 vehicles comprising large units like trucks and buses will pay $4,200 for the 66-kilometer leg of the journey, up from $3,700. That's a $500 increase. Other increases range between $30 and $500. However, there will be reductions from $50 to $250 on some legs. There will be no adjustment for the Caymanas to Angels and Caymanas to Linstead legs. Members of the Senate on Friday paid tribute to former government minister, the late Dwight Nelson. Nelson, a trade unionist who served as senator, minister without portfolio in the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service, and Minister of National Security, died on December 24, 2018. Leading the tributes was Government Senator Cavan Gale, who is also president of the Bustamante Industrial Trade Union. He said Nelson was well known for his dazzling oratory, fiery debating skills, and was a man who lived his life in serving the best progressive cause.
Dazzling oratory, fiery debating skills, consummate trade unionist, a man who lived his life in the service of providing the best progressive cause. Dwight Nelson joined the trade union movement as a teenager, giving up his first employment as a public service teacher. He would have labored through the ranks as education officer, research officer, negotiating officer, assistant island supervisor, vice president, and the last position he held in the BITU was that of senior vice president. There are certain attributes embedded within Dwight, the trade unionist, which he would demonstrate without taking a second breath or batting an eye. Outside of being a renowned negotiator of wages and working condition terms, he had a natural but outstanding talent in regulating relations between workers and employers.
Personally, I had a problem with the correctional services. Coming from before he became Minister of Public Service, without portfolio in the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service, I went to him, put the case, a case which took a long time to settle under the government before that. Though I gave to the workers much more than they were requesting. I am thankful for his sincerity, his honesty, because it shows that he really was concerned about the ewers of wood and the jars of water. He was a people person. And this is why he was probably one of the only persons to become a union man, an HR specialist representing management, a government employee as Minister of Public Service, and an arbitrator.
The earthquake unit says a magnitude 3.4 tremor was felt in St. Elizabeth and Manchester on Sunday. It was felt about 10:19 p.m. The unit says that the tremor was located 4 kilometers southeast of Black River, St. Elizabeth. It had a focal depth of 2.4 kilometers. The Bob Marley Foundation will be celebrating the reggae legend's 74th birthday under the theme Catch a Fire. The theme pays tribute to the 1973 critically acclaimed album, which propelled Bob Marley and the Wailers to international stardom and arguably ignited the world's love for reggae. Meanwhile, the annual Bob Marley Earth Strong celebrations will take place on February 6 at the Bob Marley Museum in Kingston. The activities will commence at 7 a.m. with specially invited guests and will include the blowing of the abeng, cultural drumming, and the cutting of the birthday cake, accompanied by traditional welcome from the Marley family and highlights of the Bob Marley Foundation's 2018 projects. A reggae jam session will feature rising stars such as Coffee and Naomi Cohen, plus established acts Agent Sasco, Version, Ibamar, and Richie Spice. In regional news, the United States has imposed sanctions on Venezuela's state-owned oil firm PDVSA, which holds a 49% stake in Jamaica's oil refinery Petrojam. Treasury Secretary Stephen Mnuchin said the proceeds of the purchase of Venezuelan oil will now be withheld from President Nicolas Maduro's government, but the company could avoid sanctions by recognizing opposition leader Juan Guaido as Venezuela's interim president. It is unclear at this time whether the sanctions have any implications for Petrojam. Also, Venezuela's self-proclaimed acting president Juan Guaido said yesterday he was taking control of the country's foreign assets as he piled pressure on leader Nicolas Maduro by calling for a new wave of protests against the embattled regime. In a statement published on social media, Guaido, the opposition leader who has declared himself the country's ruler, said he was beginning to take progressive and orderly control of the republic's assets abroad to prevent, during his exit, that the usurper and his band try to empty the coffers. Guaido also called for a 2-hour strike ahead of a big national and international rally on Saturday to acknowledge support from several European countries that have issued Maduro a deadline to hold new polls. His remarks came as the death toll in last week's protest rose to 35. That's according to NGO workers with government security forces accused of killing another 8 in extrajudicial executions. In sports, Englishman Richard Pybus will have his first match in charge of the West Indies, and the Caribbean men take on England in the first of 3 test matches in Barbados starting Wednesday morning. Pybus, who was appointed interim coach earlier this month, says the series will be used as a benchmark. Meanwhile, West Indies captain Jason Holder got another confidence booster ahead of his return to competitive cricket against England, as he has been named in the ICC Test Team of the Year. Holder, who had his best year ever in international cricket in 2018, was named as the all-rounder of the ICC Test Team of the Year with Indians Virat Kohli as captain. The 27-year-old Bajan scored 336 runs in 6 tests in 2018 at an average 37.33 with a high score of 74 while taking 33 wickets at an average of 11.87, representing the best bowling statistics in a single calendar year in Test cricket in 100 years. And that's the news on PBCJ. I'm Simone Absalom. Pleasant viewing.